Well, child advocates tonight are praising the proposed legislation that would make it a crime for trusted adults to groom young people for sexual purposes. The children's charity SCARS is the latest to welcome the move, which they say would fill a legislative gap to outlaw the practice, which often sees trusted adults engage in inappropriate communication with young people. Troy Trott has been following the story.
Swift reaction today from the outspoken child advocate Debbie Ray Rivers, the founder and executive director of the anti-child abuse charity SCARS.
You must be pleased.
Oh, we're overwhelmed with this. We are so grateful to our Attorney General, Kathy Lynn Simmons, and her entire team for their continued commitment to enhance legislation that protects our vulnerable.
Have a really rigid and wholesome
Under the proposed criminal code amendment tabled in the Senate by the Attorney General Kathy Lynn Simmons, adults in positions of trust would be specifically targeted if they engage in grooming or luring of a young person for sexual purposes through written, electronic, and other forms of communication.
Sexual abuse is an issue. I think sexual abuse many times starts with grooming behavior and luring. And so I believe that Bermuda is not exempt from this. We already know this with the case of Ms. DaCosta, which I believe is in the paper today, and her story.
The Attorney General announced that the bill would criminalize the luring of a youngster beyond the already legal age of consent, which is 16, up until the age of 18. Was it necessary to include older youngsters who are already legal adults?
Most definitely. And the reason is because grooming starts before they reach that age. Sometimes that grooming can start as early as 13, 14. Predators like to take their time.
SCARS renewing its call for all organizations that employ adults in positions of trust to ensure these adults commit to a code of conduct.
It shouldn't be a choice. If you open your doors to children, you should be mandated to implement best practice codes of conduct. That should, hopefully that's going to be the next legislation.
And when it comes to the grade for the performance of the Attorney General on issues affecting children, SCARS gives her high marks.
We have been doing this work for 8 years, and we have seen change, legislative change, come from this Attorney General. With the Sex Offender Management Act, with predators dangerous predators on the front page of the newspaper. We did not see that before.
Meanwhile, parents in particular are being called on to have the necessary conversations with their children, no matter how uncomfortable it may be.
Every child needs to know when they come into the world that they're special. We want to build their self-esteem so that when perpetrators try to target them, they know in their heart that their body is special, they are special, and nobody should be viewing their private parts, taking pictures of their private parts.
Mrs. Ray Rivers also underscoring that above all, children need to know that they can confide in a safe adult should anything happen to them. To learn about the work of SCARS or to sign up for training to protect young people, visit their website at scarsbermuda.com. Troy Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.